Welcome to the news and why it matters. Happy Friday. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Pat, what was the top story for you today?
I think the president's outlining of his immigration reform.
Okay. All right. A lot to get into there. Jason.
I've cracked the code, Sarah G. From the moment we got off radio this morning, filling in for Pat Unleashed every morning.
Not every morning.
Well,
Pat Unleashed is
Pat Unleashed is every morning. We're not filling in for him every morning.
No.
He will, in fact, be back.
He will, in fact, be back.
Okay.
But the point is, from the moment that I left the studio to when I sat down, I cracked the code on how Democrats will impeach Donald Trump.
Oh.
Wow.
And I'm going to revel it. The source code right now today.
Wow. Exclusive news and why it matters material right here. All right.
That's
Jeffy.
fantastic. I know that we are going to be safe at the border now. I know that we haven't completed the wall, that Donald Trump, with his immigration speech, talked about how many miles of the wall have been built, but we now are going to be safe at the border even without the wall.
All right. Interesting. I like that tease. A lot to get into there. First, we want to thank our sponsor, American Financing. I just have to know if you can. Yeah, can you say it? Can you say it before I start?
I can't remember. American Financing, NMLS.
No, but in all seriousness, if you are looking to refinance your home, you need a loan, anything like that, go to American Financing and check them out. I know that they're really honest business people. Stu actually went to try to get a loan from them, and Stu wants like these crazy loan deals, these crazy financing deals, and the ones where if you don't pay, like the guys come and break your legs later on. And American Financing, they could have made a quick buck off of him, but they didn't think that it was responsible and reasonable, and they said, you know what, if you've got another place that's offering that to you, we don't really believe in that, so you should go with the other place. It's not often that you have a company that is willing to turn down business to say, we don't believe, in that, we don't believe that that's responsible. You really don't see that. It's very rare. It's probably because they're salary-based, they're not commission-based, so they're not in it for the quick buck, they're not in it for the kickback, they're really in it to help you. You can go to AmericanFinancing.net or you can call 800-906-2440. Pat, immigration reform. I know we touched on it yesterday, but I know Trump has gone more in depth on it now.
Yeah, we're trying to change the percentages around from just knowing somebody or being related to somebody. That's grounds enough for your whole family to come in.
Chain migration.
Chain migration. Your brother, your sister, your dad, but also your cousin, your second cousin, your third cousin twice removed. It's ridiculous.
Someone you've met in passing.
Somebody met, yeah. Someone who's heard of America, and so they want to come here. That's about all that's required right now. So Trump is trying to bring people who can add to the United States of America. Every country on earth asks the question, what can you do for us? Well, the prevailing theory here seems to have been, what can we do for you?
Yeah.
How can we make your life better? What can we give you? How can we help you? That's not the way immigration is supposed to go. It's supposed to go, and what are you going to do when you're here? What skills do you bring to us? How can you make this country better? There's nothing wrong with asking. In fact, it's insane that we haven't been doing it. We used to do it. We used to ask people what they're going to do. Why are you here? Where are you going to live? Do you have any diseases? I mean, these are just, basic questions. And so he wants to turn the percentages around to 57% coming in on a merit basis, 33% on a family basis. And as it is, that might not be enough. But the Democrats are already declaring it dead, and they've already said that they want no part of it. And the only thing the Democrats want to do, I think, is keep our borders open, wide open, and allow the continual stream. This year alone, we're going to have something like between legal and illegal immigration, between 2.5 and 3 million people entering our country.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's completely unsustainable. There is no way our country can continue to do that. So at least the president is putting out, hey, here's an alternative. Here's a starting point to where we can, maybe make some sense of this thing. And it's not going to be passed. But at least it's a start, and we can have a conversation about it.
I hope we can have a conversation about it, right? I mean, I would guess that the American people, want to have that conversation. I don't know if Congress does.
No, they don't. I don't think they do.
I'm trying to find Jason, what was the name of the act that I said that the president was looking at doing this morning on radio? Give me a second to find it. But it's basically he wants to, this is just a rumor, that it was, here it is, the Insurrection. Thank you, Insurrection Act. It's when the president uses militia and armed forces to enforce federal authority. The last time it was used was during the LA riots in 1992 by HW. And so this is just senior administration officials have said that Trump is going to use that to remove illegal immigrants currently in the country. So he has not officially said it. No one has gone, on record with their name.
It is.
That is, I agree. It's kind of like, oh, that would be a really strong stance. And then it's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
No. Yeah.
Especially the optics.
Yeah, and I'm not for deploying the U.S. Armed Forces. There's only a few things that I'd be in agreement with, and that's like imminent danger from an outside threat. There's just so many ways that they can abuse that. We've seen just when forces are used in disaster relief. Yeah. It's the Constitution's typically trampled on. I think I was watching your show, Pat,
New Orleans.
The New Orleans thing where they were just seizing property.
Yes.
I mean, what?
They took the guns.
Property and weapons.
Yeah, they took weapons, and people don't know about that. Even though it was broadcast at the time, I think it was quickly forgotten that during Hurricane Katrina, the law enforcement just came and confiscated guns, literally thousands of guns from people during that crisis, and in many cases, hundreds of those people never got their weapons back.
That's insane.
It's unconstitutional. So it's amazing what can happen if there's some kind of law on the books that nobody pays attention to anymore, but we could still really do it today if we wanted to.
Right.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But one of the great things about what was said in this immigration reform, and I think Jeffy wanted to address this, is that we're going to get the TSA involved at the border.
Thank you. That's what I mean. The problem is we don't need, in fact, I don't even think we need to continue building the wall.
Well, I don't think we even need to talk about
see where you're going with
problem.
this.
Yeah, they were going to deploy the TSA to
going
the
to be
border.
deployed to the border. And I mean, I don't know about you, I feel safer.
If you have to take your belt off when you come across that border,
That's it.
It's going to stop illegal
not coming
immigration.
in.
Oh my gosh, the lines? It'll take years just
Right?
to get from 30 feet?
And all the bins you have to pick up to bring your stuff in, it's going to be really
Separate
hard.
everything.
now.
They're going to look at that. It's like, screw that. It's not even worth it.
Okay, in all seriousness, though, Jeffy. Why?
In all seriousness, what are you talking about?
Why are they deploying?
They're deploying TSA members right now.
Because that is a crack agency. I mean, they're all on crack. They're so.
they need to assist our border agents. And ICE agents on the border, they need the help. They're going to be there to assist. Right now, they're doing, if you want to, they're going to ask, and you can volunteer to help as a TSA agent. And who doesn't want to go to the border in the summer instead of being inside the air conditioning console
Right.
at the airport?
It sounds magnificent.
But, coming soon will be, you're going to go. You're going to go. You're going to deploy you down there. And just be ready for a pat down trying to get into this country.
Be like, they're going to come across. I'm like, oh, you want to declare asylum? Not with over 8 ounces of fluid in that bag, mister. Oh, and is your laptop in that bag?
But this
I don't
is
think
my
so.
water. I've got
Sorry, not past here.
It's amazing.
There's an $8 one at the fountain over here you can buy. Okay.
Once you pass through security and you're at the gate,
It's just amazing to me that they still even exist. Isn't like a 92% failure rate or something the last study that came out?
Yeah.
That what they actually detected.
But it's the 8% we care about. So.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we're safer with them.
No, but I mean, in all seriousness, if Trump invokes this act, I don't see that looking good for 2020. I mean, I think the average American is uncomfortable with the idea that U.S. troops are going to, be rounding people up and dumping them back off at the border.
It'd be a tough sell.
Yeah.
It'd be a tough sell, but I don't know that anything other than the economy
I don't know.
The tanking is not going to hurt Trump.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Right. Right. I think.
You think that? Wait, hold on. You think the optics of news cameras showing United States troops going out there in the streets and grabbing people and rounding them up and separating their families is not going to tug at the heartstrings of the average.
Tug at your heartstrings? Sure.
But not
lose him the election?
No way. No way. The president trying to do something. All right, somebody's got to do something.
Well, I mean, it went from build the wall to round people up in the streets and.
Well, now we've got the TSA. So.
Although he didn't really say that in the address.
No. I will say the immigration reform package and this act are completely separate.
Yes.
Yeah. It is not a part of the immigration reform plan.
Because in the reform plan, he didn't even talk about reducing the current illegal numbers in this country. He didn't even address that part, which is what had some conservatives a little bit concerned. Because when are we going to do something about that?
Yeah. Right.
Are we ever going to take care of that? And, maybe the answer is no.
Right. Maybe the answer is no. Or maybe the answer is this. But I think, and you're talking about costing him the election. I think the only thing that cost him the election is the economy taken.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the allure of just doing something, like how you put it, is so enticing. Yeah. And the left will cry about it, but when the next president is signing a gazillion executive orders to do whatever the heck he wants, they'll be silent about it. We're doing it on the same side. Like when I was very vocal on opposing the executive order that the
funds for the wall
emergency declaration that thing. Yeah. No, I was completely against that. We shouldn't be legislating like that from the executive branch. But a lot of people supported it, and I completely understood why they supported it because they want something done. Yes. But we cannot sacrifice. Our values and our principles. We have to stick with the president's not supposed to have that much power. The government is designed the way it is. It's not really even supposed to be effective, but you have to go through the proper channels to let it work.
And we complained all the time when Obama did executive orders.
Sure did. Absolutely, yeah.
You got to be consistent,
yes.
Although, a lot of people aren't.
Those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
They are. Yeah. Well, not here.
Right.
But everywhere else.
Right.
All right, we'll get into Jason's code cracking
when
we come back. Yep. Before we get back into the conversation, which may actually include buying Sonic
Ice. You can buy Sonic Ice separate. I just found that out. This is an amazing discovery in America.
Jeffy is legitimately, this is the most exciting thing he has heard today.
You go to Sonic and they will bring you a bag of ice. The Sonic Ice.
Buy frozen water.
Don't ask me why I want the Sonic Ice. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it because it's Sonic Ice.
It is.
All right.
I do love crunching on it. It is delicious in the way that ice can be delicious. I want to thank our sponsor, Cruise Through History. So if you like taking trips, really nice vacations, imagine, if you will, sailing the Mediterranean where you can, get your history fix if you're any history buffs, and you can, eat really great Italian food. You can relax by the pool and just live like a luxurious life. All right. Do I have you thinking this sounds pretty good?
Can I play shuffleboard?
Yes.
Totally.
Okay, level 4.
Good. I'm in.
Shuffleboard is like at the top of the activities, I think. All right. So Cruise Through History. There is a cruise going on. It's taking place next spring. So you can go back in time to the foundations of our faith, our freedom, human progress. What's going to happen is you're going to sail on the incredible Costa Luminosa out of Venice, Italy. It's beautiful there. There are a couple different options. And you're going to start in Venice and then sail on the Eastern Mediterranean. You're going to visit Croatia. You're going to visit Greece and Israel. And as a bonus, an added bonus, you will see some very familiar faces on the cruise with you. You've got Glenn Beck. You've got David Barton. You've got Rabbi Lapin, you've got Stu, and Bill O'Reilly, who I know I said this yesterday, but I would be very intimidated to meet Bill O'Reilly. I really want to meet him, but I'm a little bit nervous. He just seems a little bit intimidating. But if you are not intimidated, which you shouldn't be, I'm sure he's very nice, you can go to comesailaway.com to learn more about this cruise. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be the cruise of a lifetime. Imagine being able to take your kids there and have them learn so much history. Go to comesailaway.com for all the details.
And why do you want to take your kids? Just take the wife and have a nice time.
Who are you going to leave
The
the
kids
with?
at home.
Who's
They'll
going to
be
take care of them?
fine. They'll be fine.
Okay, well, I mean, I love my kids, so kid, so I'll take him. You can leave your kids at home, Dad.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Jason, tell us about the code.
So, Democrats, they want to impeach Trump so badly. They want to so badly.
I don't know what makes you say that, Jason. It's just every word that comes out of their mouth.
Just every word. So, but the problem is the Mueller thing didn't really turn out the way they thought it
No,
would.
it did not.
The problem is you need a reason to impeach a sitting president, and they don't have one at the moment.
Except the hatred.
But yeah, exactly.
Except the hatred. That's all they have.
That's all
Well,
they have.
also the Mueller report did not completely exonerate him.
Even though it did, but
it
it
did.
didn't. But it, yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we're mincing words here, but okay.
But that doesn't change the fact that they really want to because they don't like him. And the rhetoric you've heard from people like Nancy Pelosi, some of the other leadership, is that they're actually not pursuing impeachment right now. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying out in public. But going parallel with that is this whole thing with Trump's tax returns. Yesterday, the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin said that so Congress had asked him, actually compelled him to say give over his tax returns. He said yesterday that he's not looking at turning them over. He's going to defy that. And they gave him a deadline for today, actually, to do that. I don't actually expect him to formally say anything right now, really, because it benefits them to let this play out in the courts, just go, because it could take forever. It could take years, really, for this to go through the court process. And I think that's exactly what Democrats are looking for. I personally think this is their impeachment first step. Now, I just want to cover, can they even do this? Because I didn't even think they could at first. And then I started reading into it this morning. And actually, yes, they can. The Congress has been empowered. Before, it used to be in the hands of the president. It has gone towards Congress. But Congress can compel anyone, if they have probable cause to do it, to turn over their tax refunds. There was a Supreme Court case in 1881, though, that said, look, yeah, Congress can do this, but they have to have, quote, proper legislative purpose. So you need to have, probable cause.
So what's their purpose?
Exactly. It has to be going to something specific. There was another Supreme Court case in 1957 that said, quote, they need to have a legitimate task of Congress. And they also added in, Congress is not a law enforcement agency. So you have this power, but be very careful with it. You need to show specifically what you need to do. Now, in the paperwork that Congress, the Democrats gave to say this is why we need his tax returns, is they said that, there's another quote, to the extent to which the IRS audits and enforces federal tax laws against a sitting president. So they're saying, look, we just want it because we just want to see how much you enforce tax regulations and laws when there's a president. Now, that sounds pretty thin and pretty ridiculous. They didn't say because we know that there's probable cause, because we know that, or we have information that he's violating something in some way. They didn't say that in the language. Now, the Trump administration's looking at this and saying, this is so thin, we're just not going to do it. We'll let this go to the courts because you have nothing here. And like I said, it could take years, really. Like Mnuchin doesn't even really have to formally respond until Congress then, after he formally doesn't respond, Congress will then go to the courts and say, look, compel him to respond. Now, under the laws, they will eventually compel the Trump administration to respond. But as it is right now, they're not going to get his tax returns. Now, they could say, and this is where I think this will lead to impeachment, they could say, well, this is now an impeachable offense because we have gone through the process. We have gone through everything we had. Now he's formally denying information that we have that we need to initiate an investigation. This is the same precedent that Congress used to impeach Nixon. They said that he was withholding information that they needed to prove their case. So there's already precedent there. So now they have a reason to actually start this impeachment process. I don't even think they'll find anything good in the tax returns. Even when they're asking for them, that's not the point. And they know that that's completely not the point. The point is to set them up in this legal battle that they can initiate impeachment proceedings. That's what I think.
He did release a financial disclosure yesterday. So, it wasn't the actual tax returns, but it was a financial disclosure. He made $434 million last year.
But even, I mean, you saw this with the Mueller report. It doesn't matter what he releases to try to satisfy them. They're just going to keep asking for more.
And that's the Trump administration's argument that, like, you don't need all of my tax returns going back 6 years to prove this one case, to prove how they enforce tax laws. You just need a little bit of information to show that you can see how the IRS is handling this. You don't need 6 years, because they know that's a bunch of material they can sift through and go, oh, leak this, that looks embarrassing, leak this, that. They know it's for political reasons. But their argument it will be, yeah, I released this is all you need, you don't have to go any further.
They've screamed impeachment so many times at this point. I kind of hope that they do go through with this, because I think that if they can get far enough in the process before the 2020 election, I think it's going to backfire on them.
I think so too. I agree with that. And I think that's why Nancy Pelosi has fought so hard. You say, there's two different roads they're walking down. But Pelosi has fought as hard as she can. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, and
I think she sees that.
And so, Jason, do you think that is just her being a manipulator, and you think secretly she's working to do that? Because I agree with you, Jeffy. I do think that she really does not want to do that.
She sees the backfire, yeah.
It's the new breed Democrats that are coming in that want to change everything, that are pushing for impeachment.
I don't know. It's a good point. I think that I think that it benefits their base politically, immensely, if they show that, yeah, we're resisting at all costs and we're going through with impeachment. It will backfire on them, but they'll have an answer. It'll backfire on them in the sense that it'll pass the House. It'll go through the House. It'll get to the Senate, which we all know it's going to die in the Senate, because unless they have some kind of crazy smoking gun, they're not going to get any Republican support for it. So this will be they'll see it as political football. It'll just die horribly. But they can say, look, we fought the fight. Republicans, they're the ones that stood against this, or we would have really gotten to the real issue, you know what I mean? And their base would have cheered them on, the entire way, all the way up and through 2020. So I don't know. It's an interesting question on how middle America will react, because that's what it's really about. We know Trump's base will be fine with it. We know that the Bernie Sanders type base will definitely be cheering this on, but how will middle America, how will they respond?
Well, middle America is for Donald Trump. I mean, we looked at the polls this morning, and the polls are strong for Donald Trump.
Yeah, in the latest Zogby poll, he's got 51% support, which is the highest so far of his presidency, and higher than Obama's was at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, 51-48.
That's incredible. You just would not, you wouldn't know that listening to
And that's with all of the press against him.
Yeah.
90% of press coverage is negative. How high would that approval rating be if it weren't
positive
for the
coverage?
Yeah, with positive coverage, with normal coverage. With the Obama kind of coverage, he'd be at 98%.
Oh, the Obama coverage would be hitting the economy every single day.
Absolutely.
Like highest, the best unemployment rate ever, and amongst all these minority different groups. They
lowest unemployment among blacks and Hispanics and all of that stuff. They talk about it all the time.
Yep.
Jason, I just have to say, I'm really impressed with the way that you were able to memorize those quotes and those statistics that you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's really something.
When I'm doing my prep, I don't use any notes at all.
It's okay. You just looked like you were staring at your mug. It's fine. Nothing to see here, people. All right, back in a minute.
This is an interesting group of words.
It is.
In case you missed it today, we've got some schedule changes going on. It was today and then all through next week. Glenn and Stu are out. Pat Gray is filling in for Glenn Beck on radio, so you can find him there every
With the lovely and talented Jeffy.
Well, with Jeffy.
No, lovely and talented. He was right.
Oh, what's his name? What's his name over there?
Yes.
And then Jason and I will be filling in for Pat. I mean, he can't be expected to do his regular show
That's
and
another
someone
2
else's.
hours to the day? Come on.
Please.
Done.
He has better things to do. So the fill-ins are back on Pat Gray Unleashed. So you can find all of that over at BlazeTV. And then you can also find Chewing the what?
Chewing the Fat. That's right. With yours truly, Jeff Fisher. You can download that wherever you get your podcasts.
All right.
I was going to do it.
I did, yeah. Wherever free podcasts are sold.
I almost said that. I'm glad I didn't.